Why is the weather so quiet? Hello everyone, the time is 7:59 p.m. and it is April 28th. Welcome to another update from Great Lakes Weather. Hopefully everybody is doing well today. We're going to talk about, there's kind of been a lull in weather activity over the past week, and it looks like that could continue for at least the next week or so. And I'm going to discuss why that might be the case, and then also when we could see our next chance of some severe weather that could make our way into the Great Lakes region over the next couple or within the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to talk about that. That's a long-range model, though, so we're going to be very careful how we approach that, but still, I think there's going to be a little bit of a pattern change as we get into mid-May, but right now we're going to be stuck in kind of a rough pattern for severe weather. So let's have a look at what is going on right now. We're just going to dive right in and get a look at how things are rolling with the weather as of right now. Okay, so here we have the Climate Prediction Center's website. I first of all want to take a look at this outlook here. Okay, so you can see that this is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. You do notice that there's a region here in Indiana and Ohio that sits below average. All right, so this is the chance for below average temperatures, or rather a 33% chance of below average temperatures, so it's going to be leaning to more below average temperatures in this area. And you notice that Michigan is kind of in the area where temperatures will be kind of around average, but again, the fact that we're kind of in this situation where temperatures are going to be relatively below average is going to really hinder our chances of seeing thunderstorm activity over the next several days. I really think the next activity and the brunt of the activity over the next several days is going to be just rain and cooler weather, and maybe even some snow to throw in there as well. Yes, despite the fact we're getting close to May 1st, I'm seeing a bit of scattered snow showers in the forecast as well. So looking at the different week 3 to 4 outlook, you do notice that the temperatures do start to show a little bit more above average across parts of the Great Lakes region. So that's something that you might want to anticipate as we get into mid-May, and I think mid-May is when we're going to start to see that pattern change of weather across portions of the region. So let's take a look at the hazards outlook from the Climate Prediction Center as well. You do notice that central Indiana and much of southern Ohio is in the green or the blue zone right here. This actually indicates a slight risk of much below normal temperatures for this region. So an area that could see well below normal temperatures. It looks like temperatures could be in the 40s in some places over the next couple of days as we start to see the movement of a cold front across the Great Lakes region and a very deep trough going to surge across the eastern portion of the continental United States. And that's also going to hinder severe weather activity over the next couple of days. There has been some severe weather activity across parts of, if you go to Texas, there's actually been some severe weather down there today, but I think it's really going to stay down into that southern portion of the United States. So let's get a look at the models and see exactly what those are saying about this setup. Here you have the CFS model. Okay, so this is a height anomaly showing the changes in temperature and pressure at different levels of the atmosphere. You do notice that there is a very broad trough sitting across much of the continental United States at this time. And notice, as we go over the next several days, it really doesn't change too much. You do see that trough that kind of deepens over parts of Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. That's going to bring our temperatures much cooler than average, and that's why Indiana and Ohio are under that spot by the Climate Prediction Center for much below average temperatures. Okay, so the fact that we're dealing with this this lower pressure aloft and higher pressure at the surface is indicating sinking air, bringing cooler temperatures across parts of this region. So that's really what it comes down to. It's not really going to be much in terms of volatile weather in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's really going to kind of stagnate, and it's going to be kind of like a stagnating low that just brings just a chance of some cooler weather and some scattered rain showers as well. As we get into parts May 5th, okay, so near the end of the first week of May, we start to see that start to dissipate a little bit, and then despite the fact that the Cooler air does tend to stick around. The sinking air does tend to stick around across parts of southern Ohio, southern Indiana. You do notice that ridging starts to build back in across parts of Michigan and Indiana, Ohio. And I think the weather, we'll start to see some weather changes as we get into mid-May. Once we get into mid-May, I do think there will be some more opportunities to see some weather. We're gonna have to see how things unfold, but that's kind of what it comes down to. It looks like the next week or two will be relatively quiet, other than the fact that we'll see a few rain showers here and there, and maybe some cooler weather, and maybe a brief shot of snow over the weekend as well. So if you're not a snow person, unfortunately, we're going to see snow into May. So it's not going to accumulate much unless you are in the Upper Peninsula. You're going to see maybe over 6 inches of snow in some spots up there. So yeah, you're definitely not done with snow, unfortunately, despite the fact we're almost into May. And we'll take a look at that in just a minute. But let's go to the GFS now. GFS has been interesting. I do want to take a good look at the GFS, particularly for May 11th and 12th, because that's when I think, again, going into long-range models, I want to be careful in saying this, but I'm seeing a trend around that time frame, May 11th, May 12th, of thunderstorm development across the Great Lakes region. And I want to focus on that a little bit because that's going to be the first shot we have of seeing some weather activity. So here's the model here. Again, I'm only going off one model when I'm projecting the May 11th, May 12th event because the Euro doesn't necessarily show that just yet. Gonna have to wait for more determination on that setup. But as we go forward, you do notice that there are some rain showers moving through. This low pressure system is going to really stagnate over us through the weekend, okay? So temperatures will be, again, cooling down behind this event, but as you get a sounding of this rain shower here, really not too much to be concerned about with regards to thunderstorm dynamics. You do notice that snow beginning to develop across parts of the Upper Peninsula. Again, there is snow accumulation potential up in the UP over the next couple of days. You do notice that it does tend to wrap around, but notice that low pressure system is really going to just sit over us and not going to move around over the next couple of days. And notice you have lake effect snow, as a matter of fact, that does begin to form on the back side of this setup associated with this deepening low pressure system. You got snow and rain in parts of the lower peninsula as well. So definitely this low is going to cause us some wet weather and snowy weather over the next couple of days, which explains why that lake effect snow potential does exist in the Upper Peninsula. Yeah, lake effect snow as late as April, you would not expect that. So as late as early May, you would not expect that, but that's one of those more uncommon events of snow, even in the Upper Peninsula. So as you notice, as we go through next week, weather is going to remain relatively quiet. You don't really see too much activity going on. You're kind of at a place where the air masses aren't really moving very quickly. So comfortable weather. You get a sounding in parts of central Indiana during this time, 1 p.m. May 6th. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-60s, so not unpleasant, but still around a little bit normal for that time frame. You do notice that some pop-up thunderstorms begin to show up in Iowa on May 8th. You get a sounding of those. They do show marginal severe potential. Again, keep in mind we're getting into long-range models, but I have noticed a trend amongst the GFS that there has been a system that will move through sometime early in the next 2 weeks. So May 9th, you notice there's another convective line of storms moving into parts of Iowa. Again, don't take this as an absolute fact. I'm just showing you what the models have output right now, okay? But I do think there will be at least some type of system that goes in through 2 weeks from now, about 2 weeks from now, that could bring us the potential of seeing thunderstorms again, okay? And that's something we're going to have to wait on to make a determination about. But if you get a sounding, even though it's really long range at this point, we're almost at 300 hours, you get a sounding of some tornado soundings with this line that's going to be moving in. And then the CFS also shows kind of a change in the air masses up in this during this time period as well. So it's something to just keep watch and be aware of as we watch for that potential convective development associated with that frontal boundary that appears it's going to move through around that time period. So going to be something to watch out for. May 11th, May 12th is something I'm going to pay attention to. But again, it will most definitely change as we get closer to that point. So it's not for 2 weeks from now. This right here is the Euro model for the next couple of days, something we could be more sure about. But you look at this line of storms here, or this line of rainfall. Again, same system going to be causing that rainfall. Progressing it to the east, you see by May 1st on Monday, you're still dealing with that low pressure system bringing rainfall across parts of the Great Lakes region. There's your heavy snow band that sets up in the Upper Peninsula. Again, you're forecasting a great deal of snow up in that region, more than 8 inches in some spots, but again, widespread rain and even some snow across parts of Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio over the next couple of days. But other than that, weather's going to be pretty boring. Not really going to be too much action in there, which usually it's good that we don't have active weather, because active weather can cause problems. But as you can tell, there's not really much of a change in what's forecasted, other than the fact that the Euro model does show some thunderstorm development in parts of Indiana on May 5th. Now that's a little bit of a difference in the models, and there's going to be a lot changing over the next couple of days, but stay tuned. I do want to pay attention to a possible pattern change within 2 weeks from now. Once we get to that pattern change, we might actually start to see more active weather, and hopefully we'll get some opportunities to chase some of that weather as well as we get closer to that time frame. So stay tuned for that. But really, the thing to take at face value right now is the fact that there's going to be widespread light rain showers and heavy snow if you're in the Upper Peninsula. Across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, you'll mainly see rain, maybe a wintry mix that will not accumulate and probably won't cause any icy road conditions for the region. So that's pretty much all that there is. Hopefully the video was helpful to you to get some information out there. I know it's been really quiet. I just thought I'd push a video out just to get some info to you about the upcoming rainfall that's going to be happening over the next several days. But make sure to subscribe and stay updated on the latest weather information that comes in. We're going to wait until mid-May to see how those long-range models unfold. Again, lots probably going to change by then, but still something interesting to look at. So just enjoy the quiet weather over the next couple of days despite the rain, and I will see you all a little bit later.